So before we continue into the video, a quick shout out to today's video sponsor, JerseyFifa.com, the home of all of the greatest football kits. Whether that be the new latest releases or the old classic ones like this, Jersey FIFA has something for everyone, and now you can check it out yourself using the link in the description down below. And also make sure to use code JerseyFifa for 10% off when you order. Hey guys, welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel, where today we are talking about Jurrien Timber. And the reason we're doing that is because he has been linked to the club ever since Erik ten Hag first took over. And it's pretty clear to see why. Erik ten Hag has regularly spoke about Timber in quite glowing terms in the past, stating that he would probably go on to become the Netherlands captain in the future. So Ten Hag clearly rates Timber, and we've seen talks on and off throughout the season. And like I said, it's pretty clear to see why. When we look at Timber as a base player, he's ridiculously good on the ball. I mean, ranking in the 99th percentile for passes attempted, pass completion, progressive passes, progressive carries, and then also ranking very well for successful take-ons, touches in the attacking penalty area, and progressive passes received. Timber is clearly a player who is really very, very good on the ball. And if he was to join Manchester United, he would raise the technical ability of the team tenfold, whether that be at centre-back or at right-back. If he was to join the club, he would definitely improve the technical ability in the team. If we're talking about replacing Raphael Varane, Timber is much, much better on the ball. As much as I do like Varane, Timber is better on the ball, there's no doubt about it. However, a lot of people have a concern with Timber, and that is his lack of height. Particularly alongside Lisandro Martinez, people are worried that a Timber and Martinez centre-back pairing does cause problems due to the lack of height. So today we're going to talk about something a little bit different, and that is the potential for Ten Hag to move Timber to right back. Now, one thing I should say is that this signing works particularly well if you sign someone like Kim Min-jae at centre back, although actually at the time of recording we've just had the news broke that Bayern might be favourites for Kim Min-jae at the moment, so maybe Timber could even be signed as a centre back. If you want a separate video on that, how Timber and Martinez would work alongside each other, let me know in the comments down below. But today we're focusing on Timber, and why from right back he could be really very good. And yeah, that's what we're doing today. So the question basically on everybody's lips is, can Jurrien Timber play as a right back? I've seen a lot of people suggesting it, everyone likes the idea of it, but I've done the research into whether or not he can actually play this role. And we will look at it initially from an in-possession point of view. So let's say Manchester United are playing the ball out from the back from a goal kick. Does Timber have what it takes to play right back? In my opinion, yes. He's comfortable receiving in this wider area here, and I don't think it would be too much of a problem. Let's say United were to get a ball-playing goalkeeper, someone who could maybe clip the ball over the winger. Jurrien Timber is the sort of player with really good first touch, really good control, that he would be happy receiving in this wider position. There's also a world where, you know, if United get a really good ball-playing goalkeeper, we could see a system which looks a little bit like this. Timber would be more than comfortable in that situation. United would be able to overload most teams in this area. So yeah, Timber in the first phase at right back works for me. However, in terms of moving forward up the pitch, that is kind of where Timber as a traditional right back ends. Because whilst he may be able to receive in this wide area in the first phase, higher up the pitch he isn't very good in wide areas, and naturally it just doesn't seem to suit him. He doesn't seem to work the angles too well. So if Timber was to play right back, he would need to be inverted. Now, a lot of people will kind of look at this and go, oh, you're just trying to copy Manchester City's tactics. I've seen loads of people saying it on Twitter, because now a lot of people, when they're building their ideal teams, are putting fullbacks in inverted positions, and everyone thinks that is copying Pep Guardiola. Well, you know, inverted fullbacks have been about for a long time, but one thing I will say is that Ten Hag used two fullbacks pretty much in midfield at times in his last season with Ajax, with Mazraoui and Blind. So there is more than possible that Ten Hag moves Timber into a right back position where he is actually incredibly inverted. So let's take a look at how it would work. So the first way in which it could work is United could build possession in a 3-2-4-1 shape, a little bit like this. And Timber at right back could invert into a back three. This is something which Ben White often does really well for Arsenal. This is certainly a shape which United could use. Aki does it on the left-hand side for Manchester City. Timber could do something similar where he tucks in from this right-hand side, and you know, from here he's a very good passer of the ball. He knows the angles with which Erik ten Hag likes to work. He knows the ability to kind of progress the ball out wide. We saw Timber passing to Antony on a regular basis for Ajax. That was a pass which was often used. Timber certainly understands the system and could operate in this sort of area, perhaps with Casemiro and Luke Shaw as an inverted fullback in front of him, creating this 3-2-4-1 with the box in midfield, the back three to create overloads. It would work quite nicely. Timber has lots of ball progressing ability from his position, and it also puts less emphasis on someone like Raphael Varane at centre back, with Lisandro Martinez and Timber being the two responsible for progressing the ball. However, there is also a world where it's a little bit different, and Timber plays a slightly higher starting position. And the reason I think this is possible is because Jurrien Timber, in his last season under Erik ten Hag, ranked incredibly high for progressive passes received. So not just progressive passes that he's playing, but he was receiving a lot of progressive passes. And that was because he would often rotate into midfield, into this sort of position here. And genuinely, Jurrien Timber is one of the only centre-backs in the world which can play this position, John Stones being the other one. Timber is more than comfortable playing in this area, so this is another option for United, and he would bring something a little bit different in here. He would bring a press resistance to the midfield, which is currently not there at all, it's completely lacking. Timber is very, very good at receiving the ball with his back to play. And like I said already, him and John Stones are the only two centre-backs in the world which I have personally seen which can play this role at the moment. Timber is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal at receiving the ball under pressure. Whether that be with his back to play or being pressed from the front or either side, Timber's close control and turning ability is like that of a winger. He is ridiculously good on the ball in these areas. Now, if we were to go back to his FBref report, we'd see that he also offers a lot more than that as well, because he ranks really well on the ball in pretty much every single metric. So from this area, not only would he provide that technical security which United currently lack, he would also offer a lot more moving the ball forward. He's a very good progressive passer, as we've already seen, and his weight of pass in particular is really very good. He likes to put this kind of fizz on a pass to make it a better ball to control for the player receiving the pass. Sometimes if your pass is too soft, it's difficult for a player, a teammate, to take the ball on the turn and move forward with it. Timber understands that. It is very good at putting the right weight of pass into these areas. Now, I wouldn't say he's too good with his longer range passing, and again that's perhaps why maybe this almost midfield role suits him a little bit more than the centre-back role tucking here. When you tuck a little bit deeper, there's more expectation for you to switch to play. Perhaps playing in this area, Timber wouldn't be expected to do that quite as much, so again maybe it would suit him a little bit more. From his position, he would also offer progression via carries. He's a very good dribbler of the ball, as I've said already, dribbling almost like a winger at times. He is absolutely phenomenal at picking the ball up in these areas and kind of dancing his way forward. And it's something we've seen on quite a regular basis for Ajax. He often ends up in the opposition's penalty area. I mean, again, if we look at the FBref report, touches in the attacking penalty area, he ranks in the 95th percentile. So Timber is more than comfortable carrying the ball forward, getting into advanced areas. And that is something which he would be able to do, starting as a right back initially, but then tucking into this position. Now from a tactical point of view as well, this box midfield would allow United to overload most teams. We'd see Timber, Bruno Fernandes and Antony kind of operating in this area. Of course, maybe someone like Mason Mount could come into this area as well. But Timber is more than capable of underlapping into these areas, and again I think it would work really well. Now perhaps where Timber has a slight drawback on the ball is his end product in the final third isn't that good. If we talk about some of the best fullbacks over the past few years, they're really good at crossing into the box. Timber doesn't really offer that. He isn't the sort of player which is going to overlap into this area and put a wicked delivery in. Not really his game. However, in terms of understanding a Ten Hag system, he does understand the usage of underlapping runs into these areas to create room for other players. Timber would do that well. I wouldn't expect actual end product from Timber himself. If he gets into these positions, he's more likely to keep the ball with his technical security and then look to find someone else. Timber is unlikely to be a right back which gets too many assists, which might be a slight concern. You know, Luke Shaw on the left hand side provides a lot of creativity at the moment. Timber is unlikely to provide that. However, what he would provide is real technical security on the ball in the midfield, which United don't have. Timber completes a lot of passes, he's high volume in the way which he plays, and his percentages are all very good in terms of he keeps the ball for his side, whilst also making sure to progress the ball as well. In possession, I think Timber, starting at right back and tucking into this midfield position, works really well. Like I said, if he's asked to play a traditional right back position, I don't think it works, but in possession, personally, I think he's more than capable of moving into this position. Now, importantly, there would also be rotations, which I think is something which Ten Hag wants. So he maybe initially would be more tucked in, but there would be situations where he could drop and form a back three, allowing someone like Luke Shaw to push a bit further forward. That is certainly something we could see. And it's another reason why Timber could be quite a good signing. We know that Ten Hag likes players which can move into different positions. Timber is without a doubt a player that can do that. I also think Timber would suit the team from a defensive point of view as well, particularly on a counter-press. Let's say United lose the ball in an area like this, Timber is the sort of player which is happy to defend on the front foot. So if United's approach is to quickly get players around the ball, defend on the front foot, try and win the ball back nice and high, that is something which would suit Jurrien Timber, whilst you've also got the pace and the sweeping ability of the likes of Shaw, Lisandro Martinez and Rafael Varane at the back. So that is certainly something which would suit Timber and the way that United could approach it. Now, I also think this could work as well in more sustained pressure. The counter press is very different to your usual pressing structure, but a pressing structure which I've spoken about recently is one which could suit Timber really well. The pressing shape we were talking about looked a little bit like this, with one of the wingers coming inside onto the centre back, whilst the other fullback pushes really high to mark the opposition fullback, and then Anthony on this side on the fullback again. This would allow Timber to play a little bit deeper with Varane and Lisandro Martinez, and United could go man for man all over the pitch. Now, in terms of, again, defensively in these situations, there's not too many weaknesses in this team. I think it works quite well all over the pitch. If the opposition were to go long, you've got the likes of Casemiro and Rafael Varane, who can be quite dominant in the air, meaning that Timber and Lisandro Martinez wouldn't be targeted as much. Now, this would mean that the opposition are likely to go a bit wider with their goal kicks, a bit longer, but again, whilst Timber may not win these headers, the ball is in a safer area in this position, because elsewhere United are man for man in every single position, and it works quite nicely. In terms of actually maybe defending fully as a right back, Timber would need work. I don't think it's something which comes naturally to him at the moment, and he would need to really improve in this area. He has shown in the past that he is a player which is willing to grow. We saw it under Erik ten Hag, and we've seen it last season at Ajax as well. He's happy to take on new roles, new responsibilities to develop his game in different ways. I think it could work. I really do think that Timber at right back at Manchester United could work. Now, I mean, as I said at the start of the video, potentially even at centre-back with Kim Min-jae maybe looking a little bit less likely than before. Maybe he could play centre-back alongside Lisandro Martinez. If you would like to see a video on that, once again, let me know. But personally, I'm warming to the idea of Timber playing as a right-back. It's certainly not completely natural to him at the moment, and he would need a lot of work. If he was asked to play a traditional right-back role, I would stay well away from this move, because it doesn't work for Timber in my opinion. He isn't good enough on the ball in wider areas. However, if you're asking for a tucked role, either from, right-back to almost right centre-back, or right-back into midfield, then Timber is the man for the job, and it is certainly a move which I would be looking at. But let me know your thoughts in the comment down below. Do you think it works? Is his height a concern with Lisandro Martinez also in the defence? Could he play this right back role, or would you prefer to see him as a centre back? What are his strengths and weaknesses that he would bring to the team? Apart from that, thank you guys for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it, and as always, I will see you in the next one.